Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 5.
Significant heat remains one of the big stories going forward over the next couple of days, but we also are contending with the storm threat still this evening. Not to the extent that we had it last night, but still some stronger storms remain a possibility. As you can see here, our current alerts as of 5 o'clock. Again, those heat advisories for pretty much everybody outside of Tishomingo and Franklin County, Alabama. And we do anticipate, again, those severe thunderstorms, very limited in coverage, a couple not impossible over the course of this evening and into tonight, really for locations southern part of the area, which is slightly different where the storms were versus where the storms were strongest as of last evening. But as of 5 o'clock this evening here, coming in with that spotty storm threat as probably our number one headline. And while we've seen heat expand, those extreme heat warnings still remain fairly limited where those are the most significant. We're looking at those two things plus a new truck that's ready to roll. That in our Mississippi Live News with our Emily Leonard, who joins us now with the latest.
Yeah, Matt, the city of Belmont has a brand new shiny fire engine, and they are so excited about it. I mean, who wouldn't be excited about it, right? So they are showing this thing off. They've had a parade, they've had an open house. We will show you that fire truck coming up a little bit later on. We're also talking roads. We love to talk about paving roads around here. So we're going to talk about some local county supervisors that are planning a study to study their roads. There's a theme going on here, Matt.
Infrastructure always important. Again, that with Mississippi Live News coming up here in a couple of minutes. This evening, though, again, most of us aren't probably going to see much in the storm coverage opportunity for tonight. As you can see, only around 20% for that coverage as we go throughout this evening and into the overnight hours. 76 by midnight, down into the mid to lower 70s for some spots by early tomorrow morning, which is a little bit of an improvement. Out there this evening, some spots up to 100, like Kosciuszko at 101, 99 Eupora, Bruce, as well as Houston coming in around 99 degrees as well. And looking at Mama Justice Doppler radar here, we do have a few showers and thunderstorms that we are tracking, especially down closer to Louisville. Coming in slightly closer here. Lightning continues to kind of be a significant factor on this thunderstorm. Make this loop over the course of the last hour here. As you can see, it kind of drifting from the northwest toward the south and east there. Bethedon, Meshulaville, of course, in the path of that one. Checking our True Shield hail swath here. Maybe just a little bit of hail, not impossible out of this. We'll bring it to the current scans here. I think we'll track that ahead based on not a very quick movement. Whereas last night, our main kind of group of thunderstorms that was strong to severe was moving around 40 miles per hour. This is only about 22 to 23 miles per hour, so is not nearly as fast. So Meshulaville, you're kind of in the path of that, and I think we'll have to extend it out a little farther to get it to you because you'll notice over the next 10 miles or so, not really making it all the way there. So Meshulaville, we show about 534 for you. Not impossible. This one, again, could have a few hailstones with it and some gusty winds as it eventually goes through a collapsing phase there. We're looking at Sugarlock about 609 if it continues at that trend. That particular angle might not get it all the way over to the Macon area. We'll check our camera there in Macon with the North Mississippi Storm Chasers. And again, looking back towards some of those thunderstorms there, you can see obviously the dark gray with the heavy precipitation, hail, whatever it is exactly falling out of that thunderstorm. Appreciate our friends there at Fastnet. 100 in Macon feels like 108. So if you're not under one of these, it remains blisteringly hot once again this afternoon. Sliding over to Starkville and Adeton, our camera over there, again, showing up with that mix of clouds and of course, that rain trying to fall out of that looking south. 91 degrees on the latest update there in the Starkville area. This time, again, mostly clear where we had obviously stronger thunderstorms last night, all the way up here in Tupelo, and we'll have to check on that reporting station later on this evening. Once again, Mitchell Cunningham, Bull and Camera, coming in clear, which is obviously a bit of an improvement. Back over to Mama Justice Doppler radar. One little shower that's kind of popped up here close to the Bruce area. If you notice on the loop over the last hour or so on this one here. Zoom back out, so we'll bring it back in there. We've had a couple that have sort of popped up here in this general zone, and then the kind of rain cool, they are expanding out from where those are. So what's left on this one is the second one, not as impressive as obviously what we have down south. And then heavier storms again south of Louisville there, closer to Knox Pater and the Fair Hill community. But for most locations, again, these storms have been rather insignificant compared to yesterday, where they were. We have a warm front kind of sitting overhead, one of those boundaries between the obviously extreme heat that most locations across the southeast are experiencing and just the ever so slightly cooler air that sits back to the north. On kind of the regional perspective here, as I check out some of those temperatures, you'll notice that they remain a little bit cooler. It's not a dramatic drop, but you get up closer to Nashville, upper 80s, still plenty of 90s again near our front, and then obviously the triple digits that we have south of it. So it just kind of depends on which side of that you're on the limited amount of relief. Unfortunately, we expect we'll probably continue to still have the heat for most of us again going forward. So we watch our showers, and we'll look at this in more detail hour by hour here in a couple minutes. So the ones we have out there now expanding as they move toward the south and east, that limited level 1 out of 5 severe weather risk related to that. But as we progress past, say, midnight and toward early tomorrow, relatively dry conditions across the entire Magnolia State, with another limited threat possibly for a couple stronger thunderstorms tomorrow, though we're just kind of on the fringe of that one. More on that discussion here in a couple of minutes. Hour by hour forecast then, after starting off around 72 on the average, there will be 82 by 9 a.m. 95s look toward noon, 99 degrees as we head in the afternoon under what should be mostly sunny skies and a lot of heat indices well over 100. And of course, those heat advisories and extreme heat warnings back for many of us. We are, again, looking at a hopeful trend, trying to see when we can drop those temperatures a little bit coming up and look at the latest on Mama Justice Doppler radar. But 60 seconds from now on Mississippi Live here at 5, our Emily Leonard returns with news. We'll be right back.
Some things just go together.
Like friends and good vibes.
The perfect ribeye with a Caribbean twist.
Shrimp tacos and a hint of lime.
Unwinding after work.
Dinner with the family.
Or date night with someone special.
Do you want it neat or on the rocks?
Mozzarella or pepper jack?
Whatever you choose.
Whoever you're with.
We'll be here.
Because we know
Together tastes better.
Reserve your St. Jude Dream Home giveaway ticket by August 28th, and you'll be eligible to win the house and the bonus prize, a 2026 Polaris Ranger, courtesy of Dream Day Foundation. Visit dreamhome.org or call to reserve your ticket today.
Friday, August 21st, don't miss the Tupelo Super Show benefiting St. Jude, featuring the legends of Memphis Wrestling. Reserve your seat right now at memphiswrestling.tv.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us here on Mississippi Live. I'm Emily Leonard. The city of Columbus did it. Now Oktibbeha County is doing it, grading their roads. Oktibbeha County supervisors approved $10,000 Monday to build a new rating system for roads out in the county. Each road will get a score out of 100, kind of like a grade, based on pavement condition, smoothness, shoulder condition, traffic volume, and more. The board president, Marvell Howard, says it's all about making better informed decisions based on data, not just guesswork. County engineer Clyde Pritchard's team will drive and video the roads that don't already have data, then upload it to an interactive map. That full map should be ready for the board to see in about 17 weeks. Now, just last week, we told you about the city of Columbus approving a similar system. Mayor Stephen Jones says the city council approved a citywide pavement analysis. He says each street gets a pavement condition index rating, helping the city decide on what they need to fix now, what can wait, and how they can stretch a dollar. Jones says it's about making smarter decisions with the taxpayers' money and not just paving for the sake of paving. The county is also looking at a countywide sewer district. Oktibbeha County supervisors voting Monday to spend $150,000 on a study to look at cost, options, and possible sites for new treatment plants. Just one catch: the county legally cannot create new sewer authority without state lawmakers' approval. So the board hopes to have a legal path figured out by January for the 2027 legislative session. The first phase of this study is expected to take about 9 to 12 months. Big news for the city of Belmont, celebrating a brand new fire truck. It is nice and bright and shiny. Monday night, the city showed off new Engine 1 with a hose uncoupling ceremony. Folks also had the chance to look at the truck up close, and they also got to tour the fire station. It was a really great night. The new truck will replace a current fire truck that's nearing the end of its service life. That new truck cost $736,000. They got $550,000 in state funding, and then the city covered the rest. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for Mississippi Live. I'm Emily Leonard. Have a great night.
Every legend starts somewhere.
Not with perfection, but with a decision.
The decision to show up, work harder, and believe this place can change everything.
At Northeast, you're more than just a number.
We're built on opportunity, and our students are willing to rise to the occasion.
Here, success isn't handed to you. It's earned.
You don't just leave with a degree, you leave as a legend.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious when he began to discover weather. Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes, and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Laubheim.
You're watching Mississippi Live here at 5. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Laubheim. I'm going to flip one thing here behind the scenes a little bit. There we go. And what we're looking at, again, are clear skies out in Caledonia, which was a place that obviously had anything but that last night. Depending on which camera we're looking at down south here, it is still very hot, or in some cases, it's cloudy and a little bit cooler. Ackerman, an example of that. It's 91, but feels like 106 on our FastNet camera there, looking generally speaking in the direction of some of those storms in Winston County. And I'm back over here in Macon, looking at least one direction there toward the horizon and some of the thunderstorms that we have. I'm going to see if I can swing this one around just a little bit. So we've got this one pointed right now toward kind of the southwest. So that actually would be the right direction to see kind of the lead of those different storms. I think that are kind of closer in the foreground there. So come back over to Mama Justice Doppler radar. So that southwest is looking back toward kind of these storms that are running just a little bit there ahead of the main kind of heavier storm. As we check out our hail swath here by True Shield Roofing, that is not terribly impressive, thankfully, but that storm continues to move toward the south and east, and it'll continue to produce heavy rainfall, gusty wind, maybe again some power outages. We check kind of the brief view here at some of the power outages. We do show a limited number of those here in and around the Golden Triangle. Looking down toward Carthage, about 600. Winston County, about 100 there, and 1,000 when you get up closer to Oktibbeha County. Again, some storms obviously out there. 300 for Chickasaw County, and back up in northwest Mississippi, closer to Hernando, sitting at about 200 without power at this time. So never want that on one of these hot days, or really any day for that matter, but certainly on these hotter days. Has a little bit extra bite to it. Outside of that, not much out there that we are overly concerned with at this point in time, as these storms, again, heavy rainfall, some occasional gusty winds, but moving from, again, the northwest toward the south and east there as those continue to kind of progress through. I'm going to switch that camera shot there out of Macon one more time because I see the storm chasers looking at that, and then I'm going to kind of move on with what we have with the rest of the show there. But this one kind of looking back into the teeth of one of those where you can see, again, some of the precipitation, some of the lighter rain on the front end there, and obviously the big blue batch there is whatever stronger wind this is capable of. 100 degrees feels like 108, and hoping for a little bit of that rain-cooled air probably for some folks down there. Our severe weather risk for today, you will note that we do have one that does involve the southern, really 2/3 of the area, and it's these pulse sort of storms that kind of pop up and briefly try to produce something significant and then collapse. Not expected to be particularly long-lived. Our heat alerts, including, again, our extreme heat warnings through at least tomorrow, and those heat advisories through Wednesday for pretty much all locations. Once again, as if you've seen a little bit of relief today, it is retracted for tomorrow. So positioning is not perfect by any stretch, but it's still possible, again, near our front and certainly south of it to see some isolated storms developing over the next few hours. Not going to be everybody. As you can see here, just kind of a limited coverage of a few of those storms trying to work their way from the west back toward the south and east there. And then as we progress into the evening, beyond 9 to 10 o'clock, all those are pretty much out of here. We don't really expect to have a whole lot of those even throughout the overnight time period there. As we head toward early tomorrow morning, mostly dry, mostly clear to begin the first part of your Wednesday with low temperatures likely in the middle 70s. Let me see if I can go back one on that. I jumped right past it there. My bad. But I just wanted to catch this. You see how we have 1 or 2 upper 60s out there in the northwest portion of the state? Just nice to see something that resembles marginally cooler, even if it's just for that one day there. Our IMPC school day forecast for tomorrow, 73 in the morning, 92 by lunch, and up in the upper 90s by afternoon with heat indices close to 110. And yes, again, some additional thunderstorms possible tomorrow. Not many of those showing up at 9 to 10 to 11 o'clock in the morning. A greater quantity of those by midday, but especially up into Tennessee. And this is up north here, close to the Tennessee state line, where we're most likely to possibly see a couple of storms that could be stronger. Notice we show one kind of hiding below that front there in near the Corinth area in Burnsville. See how quickly that gets a little stronger once it makes its way out into Alabama. So a sign that a couple of heavier thunderstorms certainly remain a possibility. Heavy rainfall, gusty winds, again, main impacts with these, and most of the wind gusts 20, 30, 40 miles per hour. A couple might possibly go up to 60, and that's, again, where that limited severe risk comes in with this here. As we progress into your evening, still a few thunderstorms lingering, so that severe risk, I wanted to show it, and if I had the regional version on here, it would show up more significant up into Tennessee there, where our risk, all the way up to level 2 risk, but again, that's primarily north. So again, the contrast versus today. High temperatures, these are actual high temperatures up close to the triple-digit point for tomorrow, maybe a little bit in excess of that. The number that really matters is this one, what it feels like, because that will be close to 110 either way. If you get pockets of slightly drier air, that forces the actual temperature up a little bit more. But either way, the heat index is going to read just about the same. And this is dangerously hot for all locations again on your Wednesday. Looking at our heat injury risk, and that's what we call our wet bulb globe temperature here. Obviously, when you're in the black, that is extreme. That's a situation where we don't need to be doing those outdoor practices. Talking to the coaches, again, not necessarily as much the kids there, but the coaches just have to be careful. This is one of those things developed by the military to make sure that people don't get injured. And obviously that heat injury risk remains significant. Spotty storms, a couple of those still showing up tomorrow evening. I know it's a little farther south than where we had that primary severe risk. That's why most of these, again, a couple of brief wind gusts possible, but it's the multiple chances for storms up here near the Tennessee state line that bring in the greater chance to possibly see a couple that are strong to severe for tomorrow evening and tomorrow night as well. As we look toward the pre-dawn hours of early Thursday, we do have a weak front sort of nudging a little bit closer to us. And that'll be a focal point for additional storm development on Thursday. Highs Thursday, middle to upper 70s, even a couple 80s out there. I should say low temperatures to begin the day. It'd be nice if that were highs, but still got a ways to go before that's the case. So a few showers and thunderstorms running just a little bit ahead of that frontal boundary here. We're 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning here to midday. Not overly impressive, and as even if we changed over to our strike model, it's pretty close in the positioning, but also pretty close on the intensity being slightly weaker, 2, 3, 4 o'clock into the evening, with some spotty showers and thunderstorms again up here closer to the Tennessee state line. Not impossible to get 1 or 2 of these that maybe is a little bit heavy and possibly has a couple of strong wind gusts. you can see a greater quantity showing up there on our Futurecast by around 5 to 6 o'clock, and a lot more discussion on that coming up at 6 o'clock with our broadcast then. So because of that front around, a little cooler near the Tennessee state line, still running about what we expect for this time of the year, and over 100 for a few other locations once again as well, with heat indices 109, 106, just kind of depends on exactly where you're at, but all of them remain high enough that we'll have those heat advisories still in effect for all of except maybe the far northeast corner of the state. That heat injury risk, again, in the extreme category for your Thursday afternoon. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast, and we're 30% on the coverage of rainfall for your Wednesday. For your Thursday, 20% as we look toward Friday, more limited again by Saturday. But even through the extended forecast there, we continue to be pretty hot. The only relief we kind of sort of had trying to creep in here is when we look at those lows. And notice how they get down into the low 70s by Saturday and Sunday into this upcoming weekend. That is low enough that we could potentially have somewhat lesser humidity, and we could potentially stay maybe below those heat advisory levels. And again, that's the positive spin that I can give you, but at least there's some kind of positive spin that we can throw on top of that. Hey, a reminder of, again, pick up our apps for iOS and Android devices. Appreciate all of y'all who do that and watch us on those as well. Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV. Always, again, you can watch Mississippi Live on all of the various platforms there. And we appreciate everybody who joins us again in the chat. Again, looking at heavy rainfall in Bethlehem with that. A report of small hail down there in Winston County. Let's go ahead and swing back over to that on Mama Justice Doppler radar here for a moment. Not a severe thunderstorm officially, but again, that was as that kind of went through the Bethlehem area there. A little bit of small hail being reported with that as well. So appreciate that report. Moving towards Missoula'ville. A few storms again. Louisville kind of tracking along 397 toward the southeast on that one. So. Let's get, again, a storm track about 20 miles per hour on this kind of grouping of storms. So Lynn Creek back toward Noxapater. And again, only about 22, 23 miles per hour. I'll conclude Macon on the north side of that one there, possibly one that could make it there. We show, where we have Macon there, about 554. Look at the Fair Hill community, 558, 559 there around Sugarlock. And Paulette, about 618, if that can kind of hold together. Drink plenty of water. I agree with you, Jennifer. That's something we absolutely have to do. I'll bring in our Emily Leonard here for a moment to give us a little update on Mississippi Live News, what we have coming up during our 6 o'clock broadcast. Again, we have different stories, whether it depends on which show we're talking about there. And Emily, what do we have coming up during our 6?
Well, Matt, during 6 o'clock, old school versus new school, but it's actually the same school. A school in Corinth getting some upgrades, turning it into something new. We'll tell you what they're going to be using that for. And also, if you're a Mel Brooks fan, and I know Matt is, and a lot of people are, you're going to want to see Young Frankenstein at the Lyric this week. The Tupelo Community Theater kicking off their season with this hilarious musical and comedy. Going to be really great. The tickets, the show times, we'll talk about all of that coming up at 6.
Okay, looking forward to that coming up on Mississippi Live at 6. And appreciate that, Emily. And coming up at 6 o'clock, again, tracking these storms. If any more develop that strengthen, of course, we'll be here to give you the very, very latest at 6 o'clock. Our Gabe Maynard probably chiming in a little bit more at 6. As he's been working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes here today and making sure that we're up and going. And the heat remains, again, one of those huge weather stories. We'll see when, maybe looking at the long range, if we can see a little bit of a break there coming up on Mississippi Live tonight at 6 p.m. We hope you'll join us then. Thank you so much for supporting us, and keep it here for the very latest.
In 1998, we needed help with the loan. A friend of ours had been using First Choice Bank. First Choice has been helping us ever since.
We just love the service. The tellers are wonderful. They know our names. Why we want to bank